Hey, and welcome to the Heartbreakers podcast with your hosts, Elsa Jean and James Maas.
All right, guys, we are super excited to be here. This might look like shit and sound like shit. We're not sure yet because
Our first episode.
It took us forever to
Put this
stuff together, and we're just not sure what's going on. We might need to have a professional come in and set this all up for us. So,
well, we're learning and we like to be able to know exactly what everyone's doing because we think that it will be a really good platform for us to hear ourselves talk.
Yeah, and I was saying I wanted to be like super chill and like easy for people to kind of just like feel like they're sitting in the room with us on their couch also.
Yeah, well, that's what podcasts are. I mean, I feel like it's not a television show.
Some of them are though. Some of them really look good. But ours is going to look like shit and we're going to be proud of it.
Yeah, but growing with the podcast is something that's really fun too because I used to listen to this Nikki Glazer podcast when it was called You Up. And it was just like her on her headphones in the car, like the regular iPhone headphones, like on the way in the back of an Uber and everything like that. And I loved hearing everything she would talk about. And then when she got a deal with Will Ferrell's company, Big Money Players, and it's on Spotify exclusively now, I was like, whoa, but I think it lost some of its pizzazz. Like it looked shinier, but it didn't sound as interesting. I think because she got busier too. She was doing a lot out there in the world, hosting F-Boy Island and yada, yada, yada. So then people like, how fresh can you be if you have to be on 24/7?
And probably like just sitting in an Uber or whatever, it's like, you're just it's not so on the spot. Like, I feel like when things are too planned out, it really does lose a little bit of its character.
Yeah, because you get into the room and it's like, okay, now go. Like, and like you've got the whole setup, you've got the sign behind you. It's like people do just want to be a fly on the wall of someone's conversation at home.
I think so. I agree. Yeah. But we're going to talk about, I think we're going to talk a lot about cheating. Just a lot of cheating questions. There was a lot of...
So we started on a Twitter space, right? On Elsa's account, Elsa Jean XXX on Twitter. And we were doing a weekly Twitter space and 16,000 people were tuning in every week. And we went into, part 1, part 2, part 3 of dating and love and relationships advice. And we thought, hey, let's do this thing. We're already getting great numbers and we like bouncing off each other. I mean, Elsa brings the numbers, honestly. But it's like nice to have friends that are already acquainted, enjoying a little chat. So yeah, I just, Heartbreakers with Elsa Jean and James.
And honestly, all my friends, for whatever reason, always ask me for relationship advice all the time. And I never really figured out why everyone always comes to me to ask me what to do. I still to this day don't know why. Every single person, I was even saying it to my friend, and she was like, yeah, I always ask you what. I'm like, do you?
I think because you're not, you've been through so many different unique situations that they're not going to get judgment from you. They're going to get an educated point because you've you've tried everything on.
That's true.
So I think I would come to you because I know that one, you wouldn't judge and you come from a really real place, no agenda, try to be that's not the way to do this.
Yeah, that's true.
Or that's silly or dirty or don't stay with him because he's never going to change. You'll be like, well, maybe you would look at the pros and cons from a really unbiased.
I try to be.
Yeah, not
try to be
making any judgments without seeing all the facts and just giving it to him how it is. So that's why this is such a good thing because you don't need to be an expert.
No.
Because no one should claim to be an expert because this is life. This is ever evolving and changing, but you've had a lot of experience.
I have a comment about that because I was scrolling on TikTok or not TikTok because I don't have one, but I was scrolling on Instagram and whatever. And this guy was giving relationship advice. And I was like, I hope people aren't going to view our podcast the same way I'm looking at this guy right now, because he was saying, guys, don't simp for your girl. Don't do this. If you're chasing her, she's not going to like that. I'm like, I think personally, we should be careful. I think that you need to pay attention.
It was being really mean to women. He got banned.
No, it was just some random guy. I mean, it could have been, but I was just watching it and I was like, I really hope that ours comes across as unbiased as possible because I am such an advocate for knowing your love language. And I feel like viewing that, I was like, I love when a guy is chasing me and always going after me and always texting me. So I feel bad for the guys who are naturally good at that are going to view that and be like, okay, this guy said this, so I got to pay attention.
Well, because you don't hate yourself, so you're not after someone to
true.
reaffirm the fact that
That's
you're
true.
shit by like, and I feel like that way sometimes too because I hate myself a little bit. Like I just like
Stop.
no, but I'm a little bit older than you, but like you have way more like self love. You've been through a lot
Yeah.
more than I have, so that's why age is really not like a thing. Side note, but
Yeah, for real.
liking yourself more. Like I want people to hate me and like make it really hard to chase. And like I get that, but it's from a really bad point of view on both sides.
It is.
And theirs.
I think that it works for some people. Then it also, I think that if you are naturally good at chasing someone, you should continue to do that because there's people like me who I like that. And there's people like you who don't like that. So it could go 50-50. But I feel like people need to enhance what they're already good at or just become like even better.
Or just two unhealthy people attracting each other and then perpetuating.
Yeah.
Is it like,
I don't know. Like I love when guys can miss out on someone because my love language is really words of affirmation and quality time. So if I don't get someone that chases me, I'm not going to get the quality time and I'm not going to get the words of affirmation. I'm not going to fall for that person.
Really?
But then someone who maybe that's not anywhere close to their love language, like you, it works well for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that pink song, "Go away, give me a chance to miss you, say goodbye to me."
I don't like that.
Like, the song or the
both.
No, but I feel like there's an element of don't smother someone because naturally, even no matter how well together you are, self-love, all of that, if someone comes this close to you,
oh no,
like
I've been smothered.
It's going to be the natural reaction. Any human is going to back off a little bit because it's too much. But in my case,
there's a difference between smothering though and asserting dominance and letting someone know that you want them and that you're into them and you only want them and like you're my priority. It's smothering is when you're already with the person and they can't let you go do anything and they're just down. They got to be right next to you. You can't go with your friends. You can't do this. That's smothering.
Yeah. And like, because that was the thing, two people existing side by side, not molding into one person. That's like such a common misconception when two become one. That's unhealthy. It's like two people in this thing together, like complementing each other, not supplementing each other. You shouldn't need each other. You like are like enjoying having each other and like put each other up.
I was smothered so badly in a relation. My past relationship, he smothered me so much that his friends even were like, you got to get out. Like he can't, like he's smothering you so bad. And I was like, fine. Like outside people were like, bro, you got to ease up on her. Like I remember one of the dinners.
What was he doing?
He had to, well, he cheated on me badly. So then I cheated on him back, right? So then there was that trust issue. And then I started to get more and more friends because I was trying to like fade away. I'm not going to lie. And then it was like, okay, so he was a lot older, but all my friends are in their 20s at that. And some of them were even younger than me. So they're all were early 20s. He was like 40 something. And I'm sorry, but I don't always want to bring my 40-year-old boyfriend with a group of 20-year-olds, especially when there's no other boyfriends coming. And I remember one dinner, and this was my breaking point, but I was like, we might go out to dinner. And he was like, okay, I'm going to already be at my mom's. So, I probably won't come. So then I was like, okay, he's probably not going to come. Let's have a girls' dinner. No one was bringing their boyfriend. Not one guy was there. And he ripped me a new asshole because he said I uninvited him and that he needed to be there. And I was like, no, you want to make sure that I am not with anyone else. And then he sent like a bottle of wine to the table, which is nice, but it was to check if I was actually at that restaurant. And I finally just snapped. I was like, you can't be next to me 24/7.
Yes.
I need space.
That's got to be ugly to anyone, honestly. It's just not attractive. It's not pure. It's not.
Especially to be in your 40s and acting like that is not attractive at all.
Yeah, that's a real turn off. Ooh.
Should we start questions?
Yes.
Let's get into the questions.
So we have some questions. Let's get into them. Elsa Jean. All right. So the first one up is about penis size. Dating a man who told me he was 6 inches thick, yet when I actually saw him, he was not close to 6 inches and incredibly soft. So much so that when I was on top, I had to ask him if he was in, and normally I would think that would humiliate someone, yet he was undeterred. After our first weekend together, he asked me if I was dick whipped. The truth is there is no way he could, ever satisfy me in late or firmness? Do I have to lie and say it's fine? Or is there a way I can mention it? I truly do not want to be mean, but I do want to keep on with him thinking, I don't want to keep on with him going on with him thinking all of this as well. What are your thoughts?
I mean, bringing that up, how are you supposed to bring that up without being mean? First off, it's going to come across mean. Like saying that you're not pleasing me because you can't get fully hard and you're not as big as you told me you were, that's going to come across mean. How are you supposed to word that? So, I mean, that's a really difficult one.
But he seems pretty cocky about like
he does, right? So it's almost like he needs to hear it.
I want to tell him just to be like, dude, are you from a parallel universe? Like we are not in a real.
You can really hurt a guy's ego. He never
said anything though. But if he never said anything and he was just like happy to be there and not like, dude, you go dick whipped.
Yeah.
Like, I would be like, not so. I'd be like, no, don't be mean to this guy. Like people have the dick that they have and whatever. But I'm like, this kind of calls for like.
Guys are so serious about their dicks and how big they are and how hard they get.
They always this deluded.
They are so serious about their dicks and it's fine, whatever. That's their prized possession. But
it's the only thing they have.
No, don't say that. No, it's just like you can really hurt a guy's ego by commenting on their dick and anything in the slightest about it. So you have to be so careful on how you word it. I think that she's very unsatisfied. She's very turned off. So I think next time he actually brings it up, it says like, yeah, so you're so, dick whipped by me. I think I would just be like, hey, like I really enjoy our sex, but I would appreciate it if like we could maybe do some have you ever heard of cock rings? And that holds the blood in there to keep the cock harder. So like, have you ever heard it? And then try that. And then he might get the hint with that. That like,
oh my God, like I've never done that before.
But like it works, right? It really locks in that blood, or maybe even like.
Yeah. No, because when I used to get high, like I would be, inebriated on certain things.
And you can use a cock ring.
It's just fun. Like
I would get cock rings and I would be like, I would put that on and be like, I really like this. It helps the dick stay harder.
Yeah.
I've used it before. Yeah. And then go from there. That's how I would handle that. But I'd be very careful on.
I think we just found our first sponsor.
Yeah.
Cock rings. We'll reach out. All right. So do we want to just, there's no way of not being mean about it. And he kind of deserves it. He's a little too cocky for my liking.
I say just be so careful commenting on a man's cock in any way that's could come across negative. Yes.
All right. The next one. Why do men need to follow sites of naked girls on social media accounts while having a girlfriend? Why do they need to watch naked girls online and follow all the sites on all of them? Instagram, Facebook, you name it.
I mean, I guess this is hard for me to answer because I'm one of those people where I'm one of the naked girls that a lot of married men and guys in relationships follow. I don't see a problem with it. I've dated men in the past where they've followed accounts and they like the look of another female. I've said it before, I think it's very normal and it should be known that it's normal to find other people attractive. It's just how you go about it. So if it does bother the person, that's definitely a conversation between them, but I don't really see a problem in following someone who you find attractive. It's
like when you're out of there in the street, you're not going to be able to, like no man or woman in the world is all of a sudden, because they're in a relationship, walks down the street and doesn't notice a hot person.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense. There's no rhyme or reason to that. So here's the thing. Of course, online, which is the virtual world,
yes,
you're going to find people attractive there too. Don't act on it.
I think it sounds like more of these people they're just fans of certain people. So they want to go and follow them on every platform, and I think that's very normal.
Also in your mind, even dating back to just dirty magazines and things like that, guys like a little escapism in their mind, and if they're not doing that, or girls, to do that in the safety of an online world where you get that little outlet and then you go back and have sex with your partner.
Right. Yeah. Guys are very sexual beings. Everyone's very sexual these days, and I don't think that it's a problem to follow.
But in answer to the question, why they follow, just like why they find someone attractive outside, it's just biology.
Yes.
It's in our makeup that we notice people that we find attractive for whatever reason. Everyone finds different people attractive. And that's it. Same as the real world.
So it doesn't mean the person's going to leave you. Doesn't mean that that account that they're following is going to DM
And if
your
you
man
restrict
and
them though like that and be like, don't do this, don't
careful.
do that, that's going to ruin things and you're going to end up stuffing up maybe a good guy that doesn't sleep.
Yes.
All right. The next one is the man who I started dating who is in his late 30s ejaculates in under 3 minutes every time we have had sex. He puts time into giving me oral first, but it's a little disappointing and he doesn't last very long. Why is this? And is he likely embarrassed by it?
Just like how some guys have trouble coming, other guys have trouble coming too quick. And I'm almost certain there's desensitizers like lubes and stuff like that that can actually help you come slower. So
what does the lube do? It just numbs?
I think maybe it numbs it a little bit, but I'm almost certain there's desensitizers, which some guys might need, obviously. I think that he knows that it's a problem and him making sure that she's satisfied before. I actually think that that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she should maybe a little bit appreciate that part because a lot of guys will just stick it right in and not even do anything to you.
He's trying to give a couple more minutes. How long do you really think it's going to last? Anyway, if he's lasting 3 minutes, he's going down.
He's just turned on.
That's almost 15 minutes of sex.
I think it's a compliment too to have a guy be like so into you that they can't hold it back. Like I would say, try to appreciate the fact that he figure out some desensitizers, appreciate that he's finishing you before he even sticks it in, and he's turned on by you. He finds you very attractive. He just can't hold himself back. So like kind of take those 3 things and think about it.
Delayed ejaculation. Here's the opposite. All right. Okay. Hey guys, need some advice on overcoming delayed ejaculation. I'm a healthy 27-year-old, been with over 15 women, but only 3 of them made me come. Currently been with my girlfriend for over 6 months and not once have I been able to come. How do I overcome this?
I think orgasms are 90% in your head. It's all in your head. I think it's a lot to do with being present, having scenarios. I was saying how it's like you have to psychologically just be there. And I think that sounds like that's that guy's problem. He doesn't realize that. He thinks that someone just touching him can just, it's all up to that other person to make me come. I'm not saying it in a negative way, but it sounds like he doesn't realize. I think he's relying too much on his partner to make himself come. But I think it's 50-50. I think you need to put yourself there, figure out what really turns you on and what gets you to come. Even if it's like remembering a certain porno that you loved.
He sounds like he's too in his head too. Because do you know what I've just had like so much realization while you've been talking, because I think that's one of the best points you've ever brought up, by the way. That it is 90% in your head.
I think so. I really do.
And even while you were talking, I was like, wow, okay, I used to have this problem when I was so in my head and thinking that I needed to please the other person so much. And how do I look? And am I doing things like, are they feeling good? Are they feeling good? So I would always forfeit it, not finish, because I just couldn't. Because I was too much thinking about them, because I wasn't in my head like you are, as in the nice arousal way, thinking the best positive thought.
I just have to think of something. It's always a scenario or whatever. Like, as soon as my eyes go to close, the person just has to know I'm thinking about something that's probably this. No, I've never. Have I ever thought about someone else during sex? I think I have. I
just don't know.
Wishing to
think of someone else while I'm in the.
I've had such good sex. I've had such good sex with certain people and they're not in my life, and just the thought of like, even if it's the sex that I'm having at the moment is not how I had sex with that other person, I literally am like, oh, this person used to do this to me, and this is what, and the guy could just be like hitting it from the back, and I'm just like, oh, I actually could think of specific moments where I've done that.
You're so much more confident than a lot of people. Like,
I just want to come. I just want to come and
go.
I really just want to come, and that's like, I'm selfish. Like I'll make sure the person's really satisfied.
So someone said to me that once too, be as selfish as you possibly can, because it's hot to the other person too, because you're enjoying yourself so much that it's a turn on.
Yeah.
So they're like, you're doing it the wrong way, James. That's dumb. Don't think about the other person. Be super selfish and they'll find it hot.
I make sure the person's satisfied. I make sure that they're done. But when I'm getting fucked, it's about me, what I want. If it means I got to close my eyes and think about someone else, I'm coming.
I love that for you. I love that for you. All right, next one. It's about pleasuring a woman. How often do you pleasure a woman to climax when you have sex with her? What are your methods? So like, how often should they be coming in a relationship, like for the woman?
I think that it's been taught that women don't need to come every single time. And I actually have a problem with that. Just because a female doesn't come doesn't mean that it doesn't feel good. And I understand that. But at the same time, I think it needs to be a goal that the other person, the female comes. So
Every time or 90% of the time? Because you said
it needs
feels
to
good.
be, the effort needs to be that it's every single time. If it
You know what?
doesn't
This might be a
happen,
real point about women and like men and how there's just been this age-old thing of like, do you know what, guys? Yes, it feels good, but that's such a cop-out. So what it feels good? You should be
yeah,
coming as well.
you should
Yeah.
be putting in the effort to try to make
I think
both
guys probably
partners.
told women, yeah, but it felt okay, right? While
Well,
we were doing it.
I remember like even me and my friends being like, it was just so normal for us not to come, even though it felt good, and then to literally masturbate right after sex when the guy would like leave. And I just decided that I'm not doing that anymore. I don't even care if the guy has to lay right next to me while I finish myself. You
do
need
not leave this room
to
until
know
I'm
that
done.
I have to come.
Yeah.
And just because you wanted to come doesn't mean that it's that
Yeah.
you're done.
So,
So
and you'll just masturbate next to them?
yes, I will.
Okay.
I will. I will. Like I will literally be like, okay, lay next to me, and like
And what do they have to do?
they either just lay right next to me, or like finger, whatever, like engage themselves if they want to kiss me, whatever.
Just, like, pat your leg.
Yeah, like be in the moment with me. But if you're gonna come and finish, and you're not gonna make sure I'm done, then you need to be here with me.
Now I know why you enjoy sex. This is like really good advice and really good. I think these tools could be applied to my life for sure.
Sometimes I like to just masturbate, mutual masturbation with the
See, I
person.
always thought that was such a cop out, but it is actually enjoyable. Like I wish that it didn't have maybe it's only me that thinks it has a stigma, but sometimes you just don't want to have to get into the whole fucking thing. But you really do.
Sometimes just oral is fine. I was telling my significant other, there's sometimes where we don't have sex for 4 days, whether it's like traveling or like whatever. I think the longest it's been is like been a week, but no, I don't even think that long, but whatever, it doesn't matter. And when we got into a fight once, and I was like, I'm leaving because you're not making an effort to have sex with me. And I tell people from the day of dating them, it's very important for me to have sex. But I noticed I never clarified with him what I meant by that. And that's why I always say this. I need intimacy, not necessarily sex. And I don't know why I always say taking a bath, but that's a really intimate thing for me and whoever I'm seeing. And oral sex can be a thing. Mutual masturbation can be a thing. Just making out can be a thing. But I need physical like intimacy. And I explained that to him. And then ever since then, it's been fine. But I think that should be normalized, that it's okay to masturbate next to each other. It's okay just to do oral on each other. You don't have to have full-blown sex every single day.
I think it's probably more effective. You know,
it is.
Because like you know how to get yourself off, and it's better if someone's there.
Yes.
You don't feel like such a loser.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it's normal too to just want to masturbate also, and
yeah,
that's
fine.
Be by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes you just gotta like not be around a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The next one is, how do we approach the topic for either one-sided or both open relationship? I'm exploring it due to my wife's libido. It's gone bust. She's just not interested in sex anymore. It's frustrating because I still want sex, but really only like once or twice a month tops. I'd be happy. I have mentioned in another group that she is being going through menopause and a recent surgery that can affect hormones. On another note, our sex life has been decreasing since the second or third year. I love her as a person, friend, and wife. I will not cheat on her.
That's great for that person to say that. Like he knows that it's a problem, and before he's actually going to go cheat, he's going to make sure that he's done everything. It sounds like he wants to do everything possible before it gets to that level. And I think that that's actually really, people need to pay attention to that he's actually, you know what I mean? Like, and he realizes that it could be from menopause or a recent surgery. And menopause is like something that's not, I don't obviously know much about it, but I know that causes.
And surgery. Then she's like, oh my God, tough times for me. And all of a sudden,
maybe this is when the mutual masturbation can come in.
Oh, good idea.
So there's still that intimacy, and there's still that kind of like, you know what I mean? So she could be like, I'm not, like, he could maybe say that. It could be like,
Start with that. Like, don't go straight to that. I want to be with someone else at the same time, especially this hard type where even though she stopped putting out over like in the second or third year. So it sounds like before menopause,
Yeah.
before all that, she started to take.
I would try the mutual masturbation thing.
Yeah,
I really would. I think that could work for them.
it's a good one. I love that. All right. The next one is he cheating? He stopped coming. My boyfriend and I have been together for 6 years. We'd have sex fairly regularly until recently. He'd come after 20 minutes or so, like 95% of the time. In the last few months, it's taken much longer to finish, like 45, 60 minutes. In the last week, we've had sex twice where he's acted like he's had an orgasm, but there's no come. Question 1, can your orgasms change like that, or is he faking them? In the last few months, we've spent a lot of time with a new colleague. I wish I cut it off there. Can we cut it off? Okay. In the last few months, it's taken much longer to finish, 45 to 60 minutes. In the last week, we've had sex twice where he's acted like he's had an orgasm, but there's no cum.
I don't think he's cheating. I think that he masturbates too much and he can't come. I think it sounds like he's waking up and masturbating and then goes to have sex and he can't. He's so used to masturbating. That's what it really sounds like to me. I really don't think he's cheating because cheating has nothing to do with how many orgasms you're able to have. People have sex 5 times in a day.
Maybe it's not as exciting.
That it could be that, or it could be it sounds like he's masturbating too much. And I don't think it's so quick. Like, don't be so quick to say he's cheating because I could go come with someone, or a guy could go come with someone, come home a few hours later and be ready to come again. I think that has nothing to do with cheating. Is how many orgasms.
All right. Yeast infection with partner. Is he cheating? We are very sexually active in our relationship. We've had sex probably 5 times a day. And out of those 5 times, he finishes in maybe 2 to 3 times. What? These people are like rabbits. I love it. I've never had problems with my vaginal health, but now I have a yeast infection. Is this from him coming inside me so much, or could this be because he's with someone else and is offsetting my vaginal balance?
So I caught someone cheating this way. And it's never talked about. And this is a very interesting one because you don't just pass STDs. You can pass other bacterial problems like yeast infection or bacterial vaginosis. And I know that sounds disgusting, but that is another one. And it's so easy if you're sleeping around with a lot of women and you're not using condoms to pass those things around.
Too many foreign objects in there.
It's very possible that he is cheating and it's throwing off your pH. It also is very possible that it depends how long they're together. So if they've been together for years and
They're
he's
also
been
having sex a lot, like 5
Yes.
times a day, he's been
Yes.
2 to 3 times within that.
Yes.
How is that possible?
So
Have you ever had sex that much?
yes.
5 times a day?
Yes.
And 2 to 3 times coming in the same?
Yes.
I have not lived. I just haven't. I just
Yes.
pack up my life.
That's how it always is for me at the very beginning of a relationship.
5.
But yes, you could seriously catch someone cheating that way. I've done it. That happened to me and I went through an iPad after and I was like, okay, well that makes sense. So yes.
Sorry.
Yes
about
and
that.
yes.
Sorry about that. All right. There's cuts on my boyfriend's ding dong. Is he cheating? So me and my boyfriend live an hour away from each other, but haven't seen each other in about 2 weeks. We were FaceTiming virtually and getting naughty when he mentioned he had cut on his shaft from too much jerking off. Is this true? Do guys really get cuts from jerking off? He proceeded to show me he had 2 cuts. Should I be worried?
I've seen it. I've personally seen friction causing cuts from someone not using enough lube while they're masturbating and they had gotten
Okay, I feel
some people have very sensitive skin down there and that's also I don't think people use the right lubrications and a lot of guys just quick put on some like lotion and that's it. So yes, it's very possible to masturbate and to cut yourself.
I'm glad that he's not cheating. I feel like I've been really
Or
judgmental.
it's teeth marks.
Oh, don't. We almost saved their relationship and then you did that. Oh, let's hope it's masturbating. All right. The next one is my husband wants to see me get fucked by other guys. Is he cheating? Is that a sign?
Did you just make that one up right now?
No.
Okay. Yeah, that's called It's called being a cuckold.
Yeah.
That's very normal. That doesn't mean that he's cheating just because he wants to see you get fucked. That's a fetish for a lot of guys. That's very
Oh,
normal.
that is not straight to cheating.
No,
I mean,
not
or else he
even.
would just go and cheat. He doesn't need to
Yeah.
involve you in the process.
Yeah, no, I think that that's just a fetish.
Yeah.
No.
Girl, you're fine. All right, this is the last one, and I just wanted to put this here because something you could probably comment on, else. Because we're the first generation of women who are not settling, silence for sexism against men, there's tons of single men out there, and I'm here to tell you they know it. As well, we deserve to consciously realize this as well. People of all genders, but especially hetero women, are not willing to settle and wind up in partnerships they resent and are incompatible. So rejoice. This is our new age of freedom, professionally, creatively, lifestyle-wise, and to some extent, sexually. If you can just let go of the disappointment of dating and hookup culture and satisfy yourself. What are your thoughts? Are we settling? Are we refusing? What do you say?
I have a big problem with women wanting to be equal to men, but the way they are trying to make themselves equal is to lower the men and shit on men. And I'm not saying lower them, like, I'm not saying you have to lower people to get to be equal to them, but I have a real problem with constantly degrading men. And now I know it in previous years, it was constantly women being degraded in every single way. But now we're starting to do the same to men. And I don't agree with that. Just to be equal to them doesn't mean that you have to degrade them in the same way. If you want a successful like marriage or relationship, you can't lower your person verbally to get them there. And I feel like that's I felt like that's someone who, you know, is shitting on men. That's how I took that. And I don't agree with that. She's talking about how hookup culture. If you're not into hookup culture, don't be hooking up with people and don't hang out with. There's plenty of men who don't hook up. There's plenty of men who are also want relationships, but we can't put them all in one area and say that you're all like this, you're all doing this.
I think that can be really harmful. And
it is.
If they're going to all hear that about themselves all day, every day, then it's going to be less likely. I mean, men are going to
be just as angry as women were. And it's just, everything's flipping. Instead of things being equal, we're all switching. Men are the ones that don't have any value in the relationship. I don't agree with that. Men aren't as successful financially. You know, there's so many things.
Usually overcorrects before it comes back to the middle. So you have a really good point. And that's probably what's happening. You know, the overcorrecting of it all, like people will start to talk like you are now and be like, okay, listen, this is not okay. Because one, in every situation as well, putting someone down to lift yourself up is not going to work.
It's not going to work.
Separate. You fought for equality to be
and then now we're
same level as each other. But then you're doing what they did to you.
We fought for equality, but now we want men to be lower than us. And I don't think that that's a good thing. I don't think we're going to have.
And I think women probably are a little bit like smarter because they've had to be like over.
Maybe. I think women are smarter in a lot of other ways. Yeah. I do. I genuinely think that. I think men can be smarter in a lot of other ways. And that is how we're, as a society, going to be equal, is them making up for where women, you know, men are physically stronger. That doesn't mean that we're not equal to them. I'm just saying that men have qualities that women just don't have, and that's fine. That doesn't mean that we need to shit on them because we don't have the same qualities. And then I also don't think that men are sluts like we're trying to present them to be. I think that there's plenty of men who are just as sensitive, don't hook up, want marriage, want kids. I've seen it for myself.
Yeah, I've seen it in a lot of the questions and things like that.
They do. So they really do.
Blanket statement to anyone, and it applies in so many areas of life, race, culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like too.
I feel recently I feel like men are always on edge with women, and they're just waiting to be called out for something that they just haven't done. And I think I understand where that's coming from, because it really was, as a female, for a while, like we were shitted on in so many ways. Be the better person. Be the better person.
And, you know, just have teachable moments and educate and not try to get bogged down in what. All right. Well, thank you so much. This was fun. Episode 1.
Yeah, hopefully this turned out good. If not, maybe we can use bits and pieces of this and
you were
see
great.
where we go from here.
It.
I had a great time
every week. Make sure you tune in. Have a good week.
We're going to play music at the end, so I'm going to do the dance until they...
This is Elsa and James.
Ooh, I'm not supposed to move my arms. All right.